All right, so with the 2023 college football season slowly coming to a close, we are now on the bowl season. Championships are complete. All we got left is the bowl games now. So today we're going to be taking a look at my way too early 2024 Heisman candidate list. Okay, so now first off, when making this list this year and probably every year from now on, we don't know where some of these guys are going to end up in the transfer portal. If some of these dudes will transfer after, bowl game seasons are done. I don't know if a few of these guys are going to go pro. So essentially what I've got here is a list of 10 names, and then I've got a list of 10 honorable mentions. All right, so these are in no particular order, but these top 10, I feel like for sure the Heisman is going to come from these top 10 for sure. And basically, most likely, the 4 that are in New York will be from this list as well. So first off here, Jalen Milroe, quarterback of Alabama. Now, for starters, usually you got to win some ball games to be here. Your team's not going to be able to suck, and you're going to be able to get there. Most likely, at the most, you're going to be able to have like 3 or 4 losses probably. So still going to have to be like 9-3 to even be considered probably. But Jalen Milroe, Alabama's going to be good. You've seen him this year. The dude's the best player on the field at any point probably when he's on the field. And since Alabama has tailored their offense around him, he's been almost unstoppable. And just imagine a year in the offseason room. And after that, once they have this game plan even more around him, it's going to be scary for defensive next year. And Jalen Milroe, as of right now, I would say is my favorite for the Heisman next year. It'd definitely be one of these first 3 probably. All right, number 2, Carson Beck, quarterback out of Georgia. So when I was running down the list of like stats, I didn't realize he had so many passing yards this year. As of right now, in terms of who is expected back next year, he has the most passing yards of anybody coming back. So the only guys above him were the 3 guys that were in New York for the Heisman race: Daniels, Nix, Penix. That was it. That was the only guys above him as far as passing yards. So if he comes back, look for him to air it out some more at Georgia and even put up more impressive numbers. All right, next up, Dillon Gabriel. So it says Oklahoma on here, but let me change it actually because since I made this list, he has committed to Oregon. So Dillon Gabriel, Oregon quarterback, not Oklahoma quarterback, former Oklahoma quarterback. But we've seen the kind of numbers Bo Nix can put up in the Oregon system. And Dillon Gabriel put up more impressive numbers at Oklahoma than Bo Nix did Auburn. So imagine what kind of numbers Gabriel's about to put up in Oregon. So he's going to put up some serious numbers. They're going to win some ball games. Gabriel, a name to watch for sure in the Heisman running. All right, number 4 here, Cam Ward. This is kind of dependent on where Cam Ward goes. So let's say he ends up at Ohio State. I think he'll be a front runner for the Heisman. The other names I've seen, if he ends up at, let's say, Miami, I don't know if he'll be a Heisman candidate or not. All right, we've seen this before where I can't even think of his name right now off the top of my head. The quarterback from Houston transferred to Miami. What was his name? I can't think of his name right now. But quarterback from Houston transferred to Miami and didn't put up as much good stats, as he had before. Sorry, I'm trying to look this up real quick. Transfers to Miami. What was his name? D'Eriq King. There we go. All right, so when D'Eriq King transferred to Miami, he didn't put up as good numbers as kind of people expected that he put up at Houston. Like that could be a case here of similar scenario. Cam Ward transfers to Miami, doesn't put up as good numbers. I realize it's a different coach, different offense, all that crap now. But, still got to keep that in mind. Another opportunity I've seen is Florida State. Now, if he goes there, I think he could be a Heisman finalist. So I think if he goes to Florida State or let's say Ohio State, I think he's a Heisman finalist. All right, next up, Ollie Gordon, running back, Oklahoma State. He was almost a finalist this year. Put up some awesome stats for Oklahoma State. They're probably only going to be better next year because they're losing Texas and Oklahoma. So you're losing some of the upper tier Big 12 teams, gaining in some weaker teams that you should be able to put up some stats on. So I feel like Ollie Gordon will probably be in New York next year, but you never know. All right, number 6, a name you might not have heard of, Kaidon Salter, quarterback from Liberty. All right, so you're going to hear of him when you watch them play Oregon this New Year's Six season. But this dude is a complete dual threat quarterback, and they're only going to be better next year. Next year, they're actually going to be in the playoff running. You know what I mean? So they're going to have a possibility to be in the playoff. He's a dual threat quarterback, and, this is kind of how you've seen it done before with Liberty, for example. Not Liberty. Cincinnati, for example, they were pretty good the year before. Then the next year, they went undefeated and made the playoff and really got that recognition. That's kind of what I see happening here. They're undefeated as of right now. They may or may not lose to Oregon. I don't know. But let's say they go undefeated next year. They're probably already going to be ranked in the preseason, and they're going to keep moving up the polls. They'll be a top 10 team most likely. And you've got him, like I said, a complete dual threat quarterback. He was in like the top 50 rushing yards out of everybody, quarterbacks and running backs, and he can pass. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. Definitely a name that'll probably be in the consideration next year. Probably definitely in the top 10 for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll down here a little bit. Number 7, Will Rogers. Okay, so as of right now, I think he is committed to Washington. I've seen it some places and I haven't seen it some places. I am about 95% sure he's headed to Washington, but some sources say he's not committed to Washington just yet. But if he is, him in that same system that Michael Penix Jr. is in, he has put up some pretty impressive stats before this year at Mississippi State. I think he's going to put up some really good stats next year at Washington. Definitely a name to keep an eye on, Will Rogers. All right, number 8, Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure yet if he is coming back. All right, Quinn Ewers, my bad. Y'all can't see that, can you? All right, so he may come back. He may not come back. I don't know. We'll see. But if he comes back, look for Quinn Ewers to be in the Heisman running. All right, so this year he was pretty close anyway as far as like he even missed a few games, but he was still in like the top 25 passing yards in the nation. And that's with missing multiple games and being injured in a couple. So if he is healthy throughout the season, you know, Texas is probably going to be good as like they're good this year. So I think they're officially back now. But with them being good, Quinn Ewers is going to be able to put up some serious stats and probably be in the Heisman running if he comes back. All right, so 9 and 10 here. Let's go ahead and put them together. I'm not entirely sure they'll be back 9 and 10, but if they are, they'll most likely be in New York. All right, so Marvin Harrison Jr. at 10 made it this year. Number 9, J.J. McCarthy almost made it this year. He even got a first place vote by somebody. I don't know how, but he did. So if they come back, they'll be in the Heisman running. J.J. McCarthy, I think, is more likely to come back than Harrison because I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. But as of right now, it's kind of 50-50-ish on McCarthy because sometimes coming back hurts your draft stock. Sometimes it helps it. You know what I mean? As of right now, he's probably like the 4th quarterback in most rankings I've seen going pro-wise. So if he comes back, you know Michigan's going to be good. And he is the guy kind of running that offense. I realize they run the ball a lot. His stats aren't that impressive, but a lot of the time, it isn't even necessarily stats. Like I said, a lot of it's winning. Like who's the best player on this team? You know what I mean? And so their core room's going to be gone. Their running back, J.J. McCarthy, would naturally be the next guy to step up. All right, number 10, like I said, Marvin Harrison Jr., same situation. He made it to New York this year, though, so he was a finalist this year, but reports are saying that he may come back, that he's reportedly receiving a bigger NIL deal than he would make in the pros. I think he'll go pro. He's probably the best player in the draft, but if he does come back, no matter who's throwing him the ball, he's going to be there. All right, so now let's move on to my honorable mentions here. All right, so number 1, similar situation as the first 2. Audric Estime, running back from Notre Dame. Top 5 running back this year, 2nd team All-American. Similar situation. I think he'll go pro because I think he'll probably be the first running back off the board, but he hasn't committed to it just yet. So there's a possibility he comes back, but I really doubt he comes back. But if he does, like I said, really impressive numbers when you look at his stats. All right, next up here, a name you probably haven't heard of, number 2, Marcus Carroll, running back from Missouri. All right, so this is assuming they're starting running back now. Cody Schrader is going pro because he put up some good stats this year. And I would have had Schrader on this list because he hasn't fully said if he's going pro or not. But Marcus Carroll, Georgia State running back, committed to Missouri today. He put up top 10 stats this year at Georgia State as a running back. So imagine what he's going to do at Missouri. We've already seen what Cody can do at Missouri. So you're bringing in a top 10 running back from, a lesser school. He's got a better line now. He's got a better quarterback. He's got a better offense. He's probably going to put up some impressive numbers. Marcus Carroll, a name to keep an eye on for sure. Now, if Schrader does come back, neither one of them will be on this list because they're both going to split carries a lot. You know what I mean? So that won't happen. But him committing there makes me think that Cody's probably gone. All right, number 3, a name that was on my list last year, Cam Rising. All right, so He's coming back for his whatever 6th or 7th year. Was injured all year this year. I've said all year that if he is playing Utah as a top 10 team, and I stand by that, this guy wins ball games. He's a proven winner. He's a proven leader. When he's in the ball game, your team has a shot. And Cam Rising is going to have Utah in contention for the playoff. Now, how impressive are his numbers going to be? I don't know, because they run the ball a lot as well. So it's not like he's just lighting the field up on fire with his passing, but they're going to have a good record. He's going to be good. Watch out for Cam Rising. All right. We got a few more here. All right. Arch Manning. All right. So this is all dependent on if Quinn Ewers goes pro. I think Arch Manning kind of takes his spot. You know what I mean? Now, if Quinn Ewers stays, obviously this isn't the case unless Arch Manning transfers to Ohio State or something. But as of right now, it seems like he's coming back. And also, as of right now, it seems like Quinn Ewers is coming back. So if Ewers is back, go ahead and mark Manning off my list. But this is, dependent upon Quinn leaving. All right, number 5, Preston Stone, quarterback from SMU. He is currently hurt right now, so you won't get to see him in their bowl game or nothing. He missed their conference championship game, but put up some really impressive numbers this year. SMU was really good this year. They're headed to the ACC, so if they could somehow go on a run in the ACC, be a playoff contender, and Preston Stone's lighting it up, he might be a finalist. All right, next up here, DJU. Love me some DJU. Props to him. He's a winner. Obviously, it says just quarterback because he hasn't committed anywhere yet. As of right now, I'm hearing most likely Florida State. So if he ends up at Florida State, look at him in a similar as like a Jordan Travis role. He's going to win ball games. He's going to hand the ball off, but when you need him to make a play, he's going to be able to make a play and make the ball end up in the receiver's hands. DJU, if Florida State makes a playoff again, too soon. But if they make it to the playoff next year, look for DJU. If he commits there, I don't know. It depends on, like I said earlier, Cam Ward's a possibility there. DJU's a possibility there. He was in talks with Louisville, but they already got their guy on Tyler Shough. So if DJU ends up there, talking about Florida State, I think he could be a Heisman finalist. Now, there still is rumors he could end up at Louisville still, but I don't see that happening. All right, number 7, DeQuan Finn. All right, so this is a name you probably haven't heard of. He is the Toledo quarterback. Dual threat guy, has put up some serious numbers. Now, this is dependent on another guy as well. So as of right now, I'm thinking J.J. McCarthy goes pro for Michigan. DeQuan Finn fills the role, goes to Michigan, transfers to Michigan. As of right now, he's visited Wisconsin. If he goes to Wisconsin, I don't think he'll be here. But let's say DeQuan Finn is the next Michigan quarterback. He'll be in your top 10, I guarantee it. All right, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can pass, he can run. He's got a rocket arm, no pun intended for the Toledo fans. But if DeQuan Finn ends up somehow at Michigan, like I said, I think he'll be on this list. All right, number 8, let's give some love to the little guys here. Joey Aguilar, Appalachian State quarterback, has put up some serious numbers. He's a serious dual threat quarterback. He can run. He led them in rushing as well, I believe, and passing. So some serious numbers here. Got them to the Sun Belt Championship. You've got some Sun Belt coaches and players leaving, so I think that kind of opens the door for Appalachian State to kind of take over. And so if that happens, look out for Joey Aguilar to potentially be a Heisman finalist, definitely a Heisman candidate, because as you know, next year, a group of 5 schools are going to have a shot at the playoff as well. So the one group of 5 schools making the playoff. So if you can have them in contention, you're probably going to get some more televised games than usual, because you're not just fighting for a New Year's Six bowl. Now you're fighting for a playoff spot. You know what I mean? So Joey Aguilar, go look him up. Dude's pretty good. He's pretty fun to watch. Watch his bowl game for sure. All right, number 9, Grayson McCall. Obviously, this just says quarterback right now because he hasn't committed anywhere. As of right now, I've heard it's between UCF, Central Florida, and NC State. So if he ends up he probably has a better chance at winning at NC State. This is the Coastal Carolina quarterback, by the way, if nobody knows, or if you don't know. All right, so he's won a lot of ball games at Coastal, put up some pretty good stats. If he goes to NC State, they're going to be better, in my opinion, than UCF's probably going to be. So if he goes to NC State, they're in the playoff running. Like I said, he wins ball games. He puts up some pretty good numbers. Could be a sleeper pick for a Heisman. Probably not going to win it, but could be a finalist. All right, and last but not least here, Michael Pratt, quarterback from Tulane. All right, so this is another one that's dependent on him going pro. He hasn't announced yet if he's going pro, if he's staying, if he's transferring. We don't know yet. Tulane's coach, Willie Fritz, went to Houston, so don't be surprised if Michael Pratt does transfer. But if he doesn't transfer, let's say he stays at Tulane. All right, they've got Troy's coach coming in. They're going to win ball games. He has come out and said, the Troy coach, Summerall, came out and said today, we're making the playoff. I guarantee it. So if he stays there at Tulane, he's going to put up numbers. Or he is a name I've seen thrown around potentially to be the Ohio State quarterback. So they could probably pay him more with NIL than, he could make him go pro. So if he transfers to a Power 5 school that has playoff potential, Michael Pratt could be on this list. Or if he stays at Tulane, I think he could be on this list as well. But these are about 20 candidates that I think could be Heisman finalists next year. I would say from those top 10, the winners coming from that group, I can almost guarantee it. But that is my list of candidates. Let me know your list of candidates down below in the comment section. Let me know anybody I missed. Let me know anybody you would take out. Let me know anybody you would put in. Comment down below, like this video, and subscribe.